What's up, YouTube? Wanted to come on here and talk about the 2026 NBA draft. Of course, we got the second round tomorrow, but it's talking about the first round. This was a very fun, entertaining draft, guys. Obviously, I have a lot of players that I like in this draft. This is a very stacked draft class. I'm a big believer that this can be one of the best draft classes in a really long time. But how we're going to do it in this video, we're just going to go pick by pick. We got all the picks of the first round pulled up here, starting off with AJ Dybantsa. AJ Dybantsa to the Washington Wizards. I think this was the right pick. I think they did take a hard look at Darren Peterson. However, I do think this is a big four draft, so I think you had to make sure you took a very solid look at all four of these picks. I thought Cameron Boozer should have got a little bit more consideration for that number one overall pick, but ultimately I do think AJ Dybantsa was the right pick for the Washington Wizards. He's going to fill seats for Washington, a very exciting player. I do think he is probably the best player in this draft, although it's tough for me. I think the top three in this draft, and then I throw Caleb Wilson in there. I really, like I said, I think it's a top four draft. I think all these guys are franchise players here. But AJ Dybantsa, the Washington Wizards are building something special. I do think they could make the playoffs next year, and I'm not just talking about the play-in. I do think they could be a top 6 seed in the Western Conference next year. Obviously, you got Trae Young and Anthony Davis, two guys you acquired at the deadline. Unfortunately, they didn't really get to play last season for the Washington. Anthony Davis didn't play for the Wizards at all. I think Trae Young only played in like 5 games, so they haven't really got to see them play together yet. So it's going to be very fun to watch the Washington Wizards. You got just a completely new team. It's going to be super refreshing. I'm sure a lot of Wizards fans are excited, as they should be. Trae Young, AJ Dybantsa, Trey Johnson, who you drafted last year, Keyshawn George. This is a very stacked young team. And obviously Anthony Davis as well. Cannot forget about him. Alex Sarr, of course, who was a second overall pick 2 years ago. He probably should have been the number 1 overall pick. This is a team that's ready to win. I'm not saying they're going to be contenders next year, but I really do think this is a playoff team next year. When I look at this roster from top to bottom, they're young, they're hungry, and you got 2 star players, Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and then AJ Dybantsa probably on his way to stardom. Alex Sarr, I think, could be an all-star. Alex Sarr, I think, could be an all-star in his career. Trey Johnson, I'm still a firm believer in him. Keyshawn George, just a very, very solid team. And you had even guys like Will Riley in his rookie season. He was very solid for that Washington team. So I'm very excited for the Washington Wizards. I'm very excited for their fans. It's been a while since those John Wall, Bradley Beal days. They've waited a while for a player like an AJ Dybantsa, and I think they're going to be Wizards fans should just be super excited about this. Next up, though, we got Darren Peterson, the second overall pick. There was reports that he didn't want to play for the Utah Jazz, kind of like the Ace Bailey situation last year. I don't pay too much attention to that. These teams are going to draft whoever they want to draft. The players don't really have that much say in where they're drafted, and I never really pay attention to those reports. It's back-to-back years where the Utah Jazz draft players that supposedly don't want to go there. Darren Peterson, guys, I think has star player written all over him. He reminds me so much of Devin Booker. Just the way he's able to score without the ball. He just not even talking about his on-ball abilities with the ball. His off-ball abilities is what really makes him such an elite prospect, in my opinion. I think he can come in and average 20 points per game as a rookie. I think he's going to be able to get that sort of volume with this Utah Jazz team. And do not sleep on this Utah Jazz team, guys. They're very solid. You got Keyshawn George, Darren Peterson backcourt now. You got Lauri Markkanen traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. at the trade deadline. We'll see if they re-sign Walker Kessler. You got Ace Bailey, Bryce Sensabaugh. This is a very fun young team, similar to the Washington Wizards. I think both these teams, now the Jazz are playing in the West, so I'm not going to go ahead and say that they're going to be a playoff team next year, but I do think they can sneak into that play-in, and they're going to be a very fun, competitive team to watch next year. Now with the third pick, this was my favorite pick in the top 5. Cameron Boozer absolutely dominated college basketball for Duke last year. And you pair him up with a guy like Zach Edey in Memphis. This is going to be a very fun front court. This is a very fun team. I do think they are going to go ahead and trade John Morant. So I kind of am looking at this team without John Morant. I know I shouldn't be doing that because he is on the team, but I'm under the impression they are going to go ahead and move off of John Morant this offseason. But Cam Boozer, like I said, guys, I thought he should have got more consideration for being that number 1 overall pick. I think you can make a strong case that he's the best player in this draft. You look at his advanced stats. This guy's like 90th percentile in a ton of advanced stats. I would not be surprised if he's the best player in this draft. And the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, should build around Cameron Boozer. I think he's that sort of player. I think he's that talented. A lot of people see his play style and they see kind of a boring play style, but this guy's going to come in and dominate. I think I just think this top 4 of this draft is super special. Now, moving on to Caleb Wilson, I thought this was an excellent pick here. The top 4 has pretty much been locked in since like January. These are clearly the 4 best players in this draft, and I think they went in the order that most people expected. Caleb Wilson falls to the Chicago Bulls. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, you should be really excited that you landed probably a franchise player with the 4th overall pick. Caleb Wilson goes top 2 in a lot of drafts. So the Bulls really are getting like a top 2, top 3 talent. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, you should be really excited. However, I am a bit concerned with the Chicago Bulls team's shooting. Now, I don't think it should be that big of a concern because I don't think they're like a playoff team at all next year. But moving forward, you do have Matas Buzelis, who's not a great shooter outside. You got Caleb Wilson, hasn't shown that he can develop a three-point shot yet either. However, his mid-range is absolutely money. You got Josh Giddey. Like, this team really lacks three-point shooting, and I think that's going to be a big problem next season. But hopefully moving forward, one of these guys can develop a three-point shot. I am a believer Matas Buzelis can develop that three-point shot. But the spacing in Chicago next year is going to be a little iffy. Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, Caleb Wilson, and they traded for Nick Claxton. Like, none of those guys can shoot, and those are 4 starters most likely for you. So Chicago Bulls, I'm hoping they address or get some shooting in free agency. I know they have a lot of cap, so maybe they can address those issues there. Just something to worry about, but you can worry about that later on down the road. With the 5th overall pick, we got Keaton Wagler to the LA Clippers. A lot of people thought this pick was going to be Darius Acuff, but I wouldn't have liked the Darius Acuff Jr. pick just because you do have Darius Garland. I do like the pairing of Darius Garland with Keaton Wagler. I think that's a very, very solid backcourt to move forward with. Like, a lot of people are treating Darius Garland like he hasn't been a 2-time All-Star in his career, and he's still young. I think Darius Garland's only like 25, 26. Who knows what the Clippers' direction is going to be? Are they going to trade Kawhi this summer? I could definitely see it. I think the Clippers personally should capitalize off Kawhi's value. He just had a career season. I definitely think they can get a haul for Kawhi Leonard, and you move forward with a backcourt of Garland, Keaton Wagler. I really think the Clippers should go rebuild, and it wouldn't even really be a rebuild. Like, I do think they can remain competitive with Garland and Wagler, and I know a lot of Clippers fans are high on Yannick, the center, so I do think they should move off of Kawhi Leonard and whatever young pieces they can get from a Kawhi Leonard trade. Maybe you hit up Portland, maybe you can get like a Shaedon Sharpe back in a trade, or a Toumani Camara. We'll see what happens with Kawhi Leonard, but I definitely do think he's on the move this summer, and rightfully so. I do think that's the direction the Clippers should take. Now, with the 6th overall pick, we got the Brooklyn Nets. This was sort of the first shocker to a lot of people. A lot of people thought this pick would have been Darius Acuff after the Clippers passed up on him. But to me, Michael Brown Jr. is point guard 1 in this draft. I think he would have solidified the point guard 1 spot had he played in March Madness, and he did battle an injury causing him to miss March Madness. So I do think a lot of people don't really know how good Michael Brown Jr. is yet. But to me, he's PG1 in this draft. He's an excellent shooter, excellent playmaker, gets to the rim. He's pretty much all you want in the point guard spot. He has the size. And the Brooklyn Nets quietly can be a competitive team, in my opinion, next year. You got Michael Porter Jr., who's an all-star caliber player. You traded for Julius Randle, who's been an all-star in his career. And now you get Michael Brown Jr., and you got year 2 Nolan Traore, year 2 Agor Demon. Like, I do think this is I do think this can be a pretty decent team. I do think they can be like a play-in team next year. I think the Nets are going to actually shock some people, and I think they're going to be quite competitive next year. But overall, I like this pick for the Brooklyn Nets. I didn't like the Brooklyn Nets draft at all last year. I'm not really moved by any of their guards, to be honest, besides maybe Agor Demon. I could see the upside with him. But Michael Brown Jr. is just clears all of these guys. That's his PG1 spot. Like, that's all I can really say about that. Now, with the 7th overall pick, we got Darius Acuff Jr. going to the Sacramento Kings. Love this pick. The Sacramento Kings are the perfect team for Darius Acuff Jr. Assuming the Kings move off of guys like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis this offseason, this can really be Darius Acuff Jr.'s team, and I think it should be. I think Darius Acuff is a player that you give the full keys to year 1, and you gotta kind of see what he can do with it. I think this is perfect for Darius Acuff. That's just me assuming they move off of their older guys, but you never know with the Kings organization. Don't really operate like a professional organization sometimes, but just hoping for the best for Darius Acuff Jr. I do think he landed in a spot where he is going to be able to shine and be a superstar, be a star point guard in this league. I do really like this for the Sacramento Kings. They got some of the best fans in the NBA. I know they're going to be super excited about Darius Acuff Jr. I like the pick. Now with the 8th overall pick, you got Kingston Flemings going to the Atlanta Hawks. Absolutely love this pick. A backcourt of Kingston Flemings and Dyson Daniels is going to be absolutely insane defensively. I cannot wait to watch it. Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well. In certain lineups, that is a scary defensive lineup. Jalen Johnson as well, an all-star player. This is a very solid Atlanta Hawks team. Traded for Aaron Wiggins. I don't know how many people know this, but the Atlanta Hawks actually pushed the Knicks to 6 in the first round. No other team even won a game besides the Spurs, only winning one game against the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. So the Hawks are the only team to win more than one game versus the New York Knicks throughout the Knicks' entire championship run. So I do think the Hawks are going to be a playoff team for the next few years. I really do like their young core, and post Trae Young, I didn't expect it to be this good right away. So the Hawks are really trending in the right direction. I'm not going to go ahead and call them contenders yet, but they definitely are trending towards being one of the top teams in the East. Now with the 9th pick, the Dallas Mavericks took Morez Johnson Jr. I had a feeling once the Mavs signed Dusty May that they were going to draft one of the Michigan players now. Now if you told me Morez Johnson Jr. would have been the first Michigan Wolverine taken off the board tonight, I would have probably looked at you crazy, but it does make sense. Morez Johnson Jr. to me is the perfect 4 in today's NBA. Maybe he can play the 5 in some small ball lineups, but this guy's an absolute winner. I think he pairs up nicely with Cooper Flagg. I was a bit surprised that this wasn't a point guard pick for the Dallas Mavericks, maybe like a LeBaron Philon Jr. Can't believe he fell all the way to where he did. Braden Burries was still on the board. But overall, I see the vision with the Morez Johnson Jr. pick, especially now bringing in Dusty May. It makes a lot more sense. Now with the 10th overall pick, we got Braden Burries to the Milwaukee Bucks. I probably would have taken LeBaron Philon Jr. just because I think he has a bit more star upside, and when you're trading a guy like Giannis and you're a small market team, you are in desperate need of a star guy, and I do think LeBaron Philon kind of has that upside. However, Braden Burries, I think, is the perfect 2 guard in today's NBA. You can pair him up with Ryan Rollins, Tyler Hero. The Bucks are kind of in a weird spot just because they kind of have an influx of young talent right now after the Giannis trade, so they kind of got to figure out which guys they kind of want to prioritize within that young core. I do think Kel'el Ware. I do think they should keep Tyler Hero because I love the story. He's a guy who actually wants to play in Milwaukee because he's from there. He's from Wisconsin. He's a Wisconsin kid. It's always been a dream of his to play in Milwaukee. So I think when you're a small market and you have a player who's actually been an all-star wanted to play for your team, you definitely need to at least give him a season. And I think Tyler Hero can be an all-star next year again. Overall, I just like the Bucks kind of direction now after trading Giannis, and I do like the Braden Burries pick. Like I said, I think he's the perfect 2 guard in today's NBA. Overall, I like the pick for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, at pick 11, you got the Golden State Warriors. I think this pick probably should have been Ade Mara. However, if it wasn't Ade Mara, who else would I have wanted it to be? Yaxel Lindeborg. I probably would have went Ade Mara just because I think that's exactly what the Golden State Warriors need. However, like I said, if it wasn't Ade Mara, it had to be Yaxel Lindeborg, and Yaxel Lindeborg fits this Golden State Warriors team so perfectly. In every single mock draft I did, I had Yaxel Lindeborg going to the Golden State Warriors. I think this is the perfect fit for the Golden State Warriors. This is a player that can come in and contribute right away, just what the Golden State Warriors need. No more drafting project players, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, guys who just weren't as pro ready. You finally, in the Steph era, draft a player who's ready to contribute right away, and I love the pick. Now, the reason why I say Ade Mara should have been selected is because I had Ade Mara going at pick 5. I had no idea who was going to fall outside of the top 10. And like I said, in most mock drafts, I had Yaxel going to the Warriors just because I didn't have Ade Mara on the board at the time. But the fact that Ade Mara slipped and the Warriors let Ade Mara fall to pick 12 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think Ade Mara is a top 5 player in this draft to me. I had him at pick 5 after the big 4. He's a top 5 player in this draft to me. I think he's going to be such a great 5 in the NBA. I think you pair him up with Chet Holmgren now. The OKC Thunder don't even have to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein now. You got a guy on a rookie deal now, Ade Mara. He can be the Wemby stopper. You see Chet Holmgren doesn't want any smoke with Victor Wembanyama. Ade Mara is going to be that guy, and Chet Holmgren is probably jumping for joy after the Ade Mara pick because he really does not have to deal with Victor Wembanyama now. That's going to be Ade Mara's job, and I think he might be the Wemby stopper, guys. Ade Mara to the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the best pick. This is by far the best pick in the draft to me. Like, the fact that he actually slipped to a championship level team in the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think is just insane. I can't say enough about this. This is the best pick to me in the first round, and it's not even particularly close. This is insane. Anyways, with the 13th overall pick, we got Nate Ament. Now, this is actually, he's not actually going to Miami Heat. He's going to the Milwaukee Bucks in part of the Giannis trade. They acquired the 13th pick in the Giannis trade. So Nate Ament is going to the Milwaukee Bucks. He's joining Braden Burries in Milwaukee. Nate Ament to the Milwaukee Bucks felt like a done deal. I think it has to do with like the owner having ties to Tennessee. There was a lot of reports of Nate Ament going to the Milwaukee Bucks at pick 10, but obviously getting pick 13 in the Giannis trade, they were able to select Braden Burries and Nate Ament. So they got the guy they wanted all along. I'm not the highest on Nate Ament, but I do see the upside with him. And why not? You lose a guy in Giannis, why not go for an upside pick after drafting Braden Burries, who's a very, very safe pick? You go and take an upside pick with your second first-round pick. I don't hate it, honestly. Now, if they just took Nate Ament at pick 10 and they didn't have pick 13, I wouldn't have liked it. But you pair up a high upside pick with a safe pick, I always like that. I think that's fine with me. So next up, we got the 14th overall pick, Haynes Steinbach to the Charlotte Hornets. I think in one of the mocks I did, I had Haynes Steinbach going 14 to the Charlotte Hornets, so I like this pick a lot. I think he fits in very well with this team. His offensive game, very solid rebounder. He gets to the basket, and I think he fits in very well with Moussa Diabate. Miles Bridges, to me, is not a real 4. He's more of a 3, and I think they're going to lose Miles Bridges this summer. I think he's going to be in part of a trade. So they get a true 4, and Haynes Steinbach, I think, could be the starting 4 on this team. Honestly, this season, I think he's good enough. I like the pick. I really like the fit as well. Now, pick 15, this is why the Chicago Bulls are the biggest winners in the draft to me, maybe outside of OKC. I haven't really decided if my biggest winner is Chicago or OKC, but Chicago, that's all I got to do. Chicago, what a job. What a job getting Caleb Wilson and Dylan Swain. Dylan Swain is one of the more underrated players in this draft. He's a do-it-all wing. He can play the 2 to 4. Wherever the Chicago Bulls are going to put him, I love the pick. And the Chicago Bulls are finally headed in the right direction, finally have young players they can build around. No more mediocrity making the play in like 4 years in a row. Really like the direction the Chicago Bulls are going in. Dylan Swain and Caleb Wilson. That's just amazing. Amazing to walk away with those 2 players in this draft. Now with the 16th overall pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Bennett Sturts. This pick's actually going to OKC. So Bennett Sturts is going to OKC with Ade Mara. Bennett Sturts, the Oklahoma City Thunder walked away in this draft with 2 things they absolutely need. They need an Isaiah Hartenstein replacement because they're not going to re-sign him most likely. Especially drafting Ade Mara, I don't think they're going to go ahead and re-sign him. Especially Isaiah Hartenstein earned a big payday, especially this playoff run. It was amazing. So Bennett Sturts and Ade Mara. Bennett Sturts gives them something that they don't have. They didn't really have a secondary ball handler. Jared McCain's more of an off-ball player. Nikola Topic, a guy who they drafted, has battled some injury and some, personal health concerns. I think he was supposed to be like that secondary ball handler after losing Josh Giddey. But Bennett Sturts is a guy who can come in, be that secondary ball handler, take some pressure off Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he provides so much outside shooting. You pair him up with McCain as well. Oklahoma City Thunder somehow got better. The rich get richer. Love that pick. Bennett Sturts going to OKC. With the 17th overall pick, it says OKC, Ibuka Okore, guard out of Stanford. He's actually going to the Detroit Pistons, and I think he's exactly what the Detroit Pistons need. A secondary guy, a guy who can come in, play with Cade, be that sort of that 2-man, take some pressure off of Cade. These teams are able to press Cade up the court. They're able to triple team Cade, and Ibuka Okore is a guy who can really take the load off of Cade Cunningham. He reminds me, this might be a crazy comparison, he reminds me a little bit of Kyrie. He has a smooth handle. He can get to the cup. He can get his shot off pretty much on anyone. Ibuka Okore, I like the pick. Going to Detroit, I think that was the perfect fit. Actually traded up to get Ibuka Okore, so they're obviously very high on him. They traded from like 23 all the way up to 21 all the way up to 17 to get Ibuka Okore, so they really liked him there. With the 18th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets go Christian Anderson. Haynes Steinbach and Christian Anderson are actually both, I believe they were teammates on the German national team. And Christian Anderson is the best three-point shooter in this draft. I think he shot like 43% from 3 on pretty high volume as well with Texas Tech. So I love the pick there. Charlotte Hornets really got better throughout this draft. I do think, however, Haynes Steinbach and Christian Anderson really help their offense, but they don't help their defense at all. And I think their defense really needs an upgrade there. But offensively, the Charlotte Hornets are going to remain amazing. They're going to get even better with these 2 additions of Haynes Steinbach and Christian Anderson. So I love it. They're going to be one of the best offenses again this season. Now with the 19th overall pick, Raptors go Allen Graves. I love the player. I don't love the fit though. Allen Graves, I don't really know what's going to go on here because Colin Murray Boyles, Scotty Barnes, and Alan Graves kind of do the same things on the court, and it is a little strange. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but the Raptors seem to love these advanced analytics guys. Like when you look at the advanced analytics, Alan Graves is like 90th percentile in a ton of advanced stats, sort of like Colin Murray Boyles last year. So advanced analytics guys love Alan Graves. They love a CMB. So if you're like a big advanced analytics guy, you're going to love this pick of Alan Graves. However, I do question the fit, but I do love the player. So I'm not sure how to feel about that yet. I haven't really fully decided on the Alan Graves pick, but I think he's going to be a solid player for sure. With the 20th pick, San Antonio Spurs go Jaden Quaintance. This is a guy who, if he didn't battle injuries, he probably could have been a top 10 pick, top 15 pick. The Spurs getting a backup center, I think that was perfect. If he's healthy, he's going to be a very solid player, one of the best defenders in this draft. He's the perfect backup big for Victor Wembanyama. Kind of sucks for him because I do think he does have the talent to be a starting center. But backing up Victor Wembanyama is not a bad thing. I mean, top 3 player in the league. Some would argue he's the best player in the league. So Jaden Quaintance, I love the draft pick from the San Antonio Spurs. With the 21st overall pick, Karim Lopez. This pick's actually going to Memphis. Karim Lopez, Mexican-born player, first Mexican-born player to be drafted in the first round. Shout out to Karim Lopez. Such an awesome moment seeing him get drafted. That was really cool. And he's going to be joining his guy, Cam Boozer, in Memphis. So I love the 2 picks from Memphis, Cameron Boozer and Karim Lopez. Karim Lopez is more of a high upside pick. Had a decent season with NBL, the New Zealand Breakers, the New Zealand Basketball League, same league LaMelo Ball played in. I think he averaged like 11 points per game. 5 rebounds, something like that. Definitely a high upside pick. I do like his talent. Sort of that stretch 4, and I really like what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing. They're building a solid young core. Cedric Coward, Jalen Wells, Cameron Boozer, now Karim Lopez. We'll see what happens with Ja Morant. But overall, I like the selection of Karim Lopez, and what a cool story. Seen him go to Memphis, pretty cool. With the 22nd overall pick, LeBaron Philon. LeBaron Philon, if you guys have been keeping up with my draft content, he is my guy, one of my favorite players in this draft. Seeing him slip in the draft, I thought he should have been a lottery pick. Seeing him slip into the draft and then go into Philly, of all teams, back up Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. I feel for my guy. I mean, he should have been a lottery pick. Like, the Milwaukee could have taken him at 10 or 13. Seeing him fall to 22 just doesn't feel right. I hate when this happens. And I don't really understand why. I don't understand the concerns with him. I don't know why he fell outside of the lottery, let alone to 22. And now he's going to be backing up Tyrese Maxey, which sucks, but maybe he can win a 6th Man of the Year. I think he's that type of player. I mean, I don't know what teams they were looking at when they're seeing LeBaron Philon. I see star player when I look at LeBaron Philon. He's not going to be able to get the volume on Philly, at least not right away. So he's going to have to go ahead and earn it. We'll see what ends up happening. LeBaron Philon to Philly. Don't love it, but obviously I like LeBaron Philon. With the 23rd overall pick, we got Zuby Ejiofor actually going 23rd to the Atlanta Hawks. I forgot about this pick. I forgot he went this high. Zuby Ejiofor was a key factor in St. John's getting to the Sweet 16. And the Hawks are trying to make a statement, especially defensively, drafting Kingston Flemings and Zuby Ejiofor. So I like it. The Atlanta Hawks are just headed in the right direction. I love their draft. With the 24th overall pick, Cameron Carr goes to the New York Knicks. This pick is actually going to the LA Lakers. Cameron Carr, I thought he had a chance going all the way up to 15 to the Chicago Bulls. He falls 24 to the LA Lakers. What a pick from the LA Lakers. I think that's a steal, getting him at pick 24. The LA Lakers always seem to get these late round steals in like the 20s. So shout out to the Lakers. I mean, that's an excellent pick. I think he can come in and be serviceable for them. I think he projects more as a 2 than a 3, but he can play the 2 or the 3, of course. And hopefully he gets a real opportunity with this Lakers team. The 25th overall pick, Sergio Del Arroyo out of, I think, Spain. He's actually going to the New York Knicks. Honestly, I don't know much about him. Like the international players, I don't know that much about him. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know about Sergio Del Arroyo, because I really don't, honestly. I need to go ahead and watch. Shout out to the champions, the New York Knicks. I don't really know. I don't have much to say about that pick. With the 26th overall pick, Terrace Reed. I don't see it with Terrace Reed. I just really don't. I don't want to be rude or anything, but guy has horrible touch. I mean, other than rebound, I don't really know what he's going to do excellent at the next level. I mean, I know he had some very solid March Madness games, but just I don't see it with Terrace Reed. People were trying to get me to see the vision, like on Twitter. I've been interacting with people like, what are you seeing with Terrace Reed Jr.? He's slow on his feet. He's just, I don't know. Other than rebounding, I don't know. But he's actually not going to Denver. He's actually going to the Spurs. So the Spurs drafted Jaden Quinton and Terrace Reed. Terrace Reed's not playing over Victor Wembanyama, obviously. I don't think he's better than Luke Cornett. He's not better than Jaden Quinton. He's going to be a third string, fourth string big man. I don't know. You take him in the first round. I understand the Spurs want to fix their backup big rotation, which I do think they should. Terrace Reed, I would have went Chris Sinak. I would have went Henry Vesar. Henry Vesar didn't even go in the first round tonight. He's going in the second round tomorrow. You got Isaiah Evans still on the board as well. He's not a big, but still, I think he could have contributed more than what Terrace Reed is going to give you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it with Terrace Reed. I really don't. I don't like him going in the first round. That's all I got to say about that. With the 27th overall pick, my Boston Celtics take Chris Sinak Jr. I like Henry Vesar a little bit more than Chris Sinak, but I understand the upside with Chris Sinak. I wanted Isaiah Evans, honestly. I understand taking a big man. Isaiah Evans not going in the first round, I think, is absolutely wild. That is wild to me. Isaiah Evans not going in the first round is crazy. But Chris Sinak to the Boston Celtics, I'm fine with it. Like I said, I would have went Vesar or Isaiah Evans over Chris Sinak, but I understand the Chris Sinak pick for sure. With the 28th overall pick, Joshua Jefferson. I think in my mock draft, I actually had Joshua Jefferson going here to the Timberwolves. He traded Julius Randle and Naz Reid. Naz Reid likely going to be that starting power forward now, so you get Joshua Jefferson to kind of take Naz Reid's old role, being that backup 4, backup 5 man. Joshua Jefferson, I believe he's a senior. He's on the older side, out of Iowa State. He was a big factor in Iowa State actually getting the number 2 seed in March Madness, but he battled an injury, and I think they actually lost the game he was out. I think he was out 2 games. They won one without him, and they lost in the Sweet 16 without him. Yes, I think they lost in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. I don't remember. But Joshua Jefferson, I know, didn't play, and he was a key factor. Him and Milan, who's actually going back to school. He's going to Kentucky now. He's a transfer. But those 2 guys, key factors in Iowa State's success last year. And I like Joshua Jefferson. I like the pick. With the 29th overall pick, Alex Karaban. This pick was made by the Cavs, but it's actually going to the Sacramento Kings. This is a 2-time national champion with the UConn Huskies. No introduction needed. Most people know Alex Karaban. He's going to the Sacramento Kings. I think he can be a serviceable player. I think he's going to be a role player. I have no problem with this pick going to Sacramento, Alex Karaban. Now, Koa Pete. I like Koa Pete. And a lot of people, I understand, not having an outside shot whatsoever is definitely always going to tank your draft stock. I think he's one of the best defenders in this draft. Yeah, he's an excellent rebounder. Pretty much does everything besides shoot. His mid-range is kind of money, honestly. I like Koa Pete. I'm glad he went in the first round, but there's a few guys, especially towards the end of the first round, that I think Koa Pete is better than. I think Koa Pete's probably better than everyone from after LeBaron Philon. I wouldn't take him over Cameron Carr. Maybe not Zuby Ejiofor. But after this Knicks pick, you got the Lakers all the way to the Mavs. Koa Pete's actually going to the Suns, actually. He's not going to Dallas. I wish they updated these graphics to actually go to the teams they're going to, but the trades are not finalized, so they can't do that yet. Assuming all these trades go through, Koa Pete's going to Phoenix. He's actually staying in Arizona. He went to U of A, of course, so staying in Arizona, going to Phoenix. I like the pick for Phoenix. And yeah, that pretty much concludes the first round. Overall, I thought this was very interesting draft night. Not too many shockers, honestly. The top 4 went exactly how I expected. No really shockers in the top 10. I don't think Morez Johnson going 9 is that much of a shocker, honestly. Ade Mara falling to pick 12 is a little shocking. But overall, I think Isaiah Evans not going in the first round is a bit of a shocker as well. But overall, I think this is a good draft. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you think about your favorite team's draft and who are your biggest winners and who are your biggest losers in this draft. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.